Let's just jump right into it. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a dynamic literally as old as humanity itself. We're going to try to unravel a centuries-old relationship mystery, but get this, the material we're looking at takes a completely unexpected approach. Instead of telling us to, scrutinize our partners more closely, it demands that we shift our focus completely inward. It's this deep, philosophical breakdown of human connection, and honestly, the insights here are genuinely eye-opening.
So we start right out of the gate with this massive elephant in the room question. Men and women have been building families, falling in love, and sharing lives for centuries, right? Yet there's this pervasive narrative that women remain fundamentally misunderstood by men. The text explores a super common trap we all fall into, the assumption that just spending time with someone or, arguing over whose turn it is to do the dishes somehow equals actually understanding them. Living under the same roof absolutely doesn't automatically grant you an all-access pass to someone's internal world.
And this brings us to a really brilliant piece of wisdom from an ancient sage that basically sets up our entire premise. Quote, "Don't try to understand women, first understand yourself." Basically, if a guy is totally ignorant of his own internal sensitivities, he's never going to be able to read the mind or heart of a woman. You literally cannot grasp her reality until you've uncovered your own. It's a total paradigm shift from the usual relationship advice we're used to hearing, isn't it?
All right, moving into section 1, logic versus emotion.
The text outlines this absolutely fascinating contrast. See, men are heavily conditioned from day one to rely on what's visible, solid logic, immediate solutions, and spoken words. On the flip side, a woman's reality is described as being deeply rooted in emotion, presence, energy, and feeling. She isn't just some set of behaviors you can plug into a spreadsheet and analyze. She's this ongoing, dynamic flow of energy. So, when a man looks strictly at the surface logic, he completely misses the profound emotional current running underneath the whole shebang.
The absolutely crucial point here is why this disconnect happens, and it really traces back to early childhood conditioning. Boys are so often taught to suppress vulnerability, right? To just be tough and rely strictly on logic. Because of that early emotional suppression, they grow up thinking that literally every problem can be fixed with the right sequence of words. But by focusing so intensely on the literal words, they completely miss the energetic signals a woman is sending. They're searching for literal meanings when the actual message is entirely emotional.
Which leads us to section 2, what women actually want. There is a stark, undeniable contrast between what society tells us women want versus their hidden reality. Guys often exhaust themselves trying to provide all these external things, money, security, or crafting the perfect poetic words. But the real thirst, it's somewhere else entirely. Instead of just financial security, she craves deep emotional safety. Instead of perfect words, she wants your actual grounded mental presence. And instead of you constantly trying to fix things, she really just wants a space where she can be entirely authentic without having to wear a mask.
This brings us to a really powerful concept. She wants connection, not a repair job. When a woman shares her distress or her feelings, she isn't handing you a broken machine that needs a quick mechanical fix. Actually, she's exposing a piece of her soul to you. When a man immediately jumps in with logic and rapid-fire solutions, he inadvertently pushes her away. He makes her feel like she's a project being managed rather than a person being deeply understood.
Now for section 3, the language of silence.
Relationships rarely just shatter overnight, They hollow out slowly. It usually starts on day 1 with her speaking up, sharing her vulnerabilities. But let's say by month 6, if she's constantly met with logic instead of genuine empathy, she starts feeling completely unheard. Fast forward to year 1, and an internal withdrawal begins. She starts stepping back, quietly. And by year 3, you get the final break. The hard truth is, the end of a relationship usually starts long before anyone actually packs a bag.
The source text uses this incredible metaphor of a dying tree to explain this phenomenon, and it's spot on. Imagine a tree that looks perfectly fine on the outside. The leaves are green, the trunk is standing tall, but internally, the vital life force has already totally drained away. That is exactly how relationships hollow out. On the surface, a couple might still be smiling, talking, doing the grocery shopping together, but the emotional vibrancy inside has completely perished, all due to a lack of true mental presence.
So how do you spot this happening? Well, it's all in the highly subtle cues of a silent breakdown. We aren't talking about dramatic, plate-throwing, screaming matches here. It's more like a fading brightness in her eyes. It's a really subtle but noticeable change in her vocal tone. She might still remember all the small things, but she stays totally quiet about her own needs. It's this unnatural, heavy stillness. If you aren't paying close attention to these incredibly subtle shifts, you're going to completely miss the fact that she is actively closing her heart.
And this brilliantly redefines how we view conflict. Silence is absolutely not a sign of peace or resolution. In fact, it's often a severe warning. A sudden lack of arguments doesn't mean you've won or that the relationship is miraculously fixed. It usually means she has simply given up hope of ever being understood. When the hope fades out, the effort to communicate fades right along with it.
Okay, let's look at Section 4, the real secret, knowing yourself.
Think about the essence of a flower for a second. A flower's true beauty isn't just in its visible petals, the parts you can easily see and touch. Its true identity is actually its unseen fragrance, which you can only experience by being truly present and feeling it. Similarly, a woman's reality lies in her unseen emotions. If a man only ever reacts to her outward behavior, the petals, he is quite literally only getting half the truth. This reveals something absolutely fascinating about attraction. Women are profoundly attracted to a man's inner stillness. An anxious mind that constantly needs validation, feels insecure, and tries to micromanage everything, that is deeply unappealing. Because honestly, it feels totally unsafe. But a still mind, a man who has cultivated inner peace, who is self-aware, and who doesn't constantly run from his own loneliness, that offers a safe harbor. She can instantly feel the difference in his energy.
Which loops us right back to our core thesis from the source. The path to understanding a woman is not through her, but through your own inner self. Think about it. If your own mind is chaotic, filled with ego, or desperate to prove its worth through outward success, you will literally never be able to provide that calm, emotional anchor she needs. You just cannot offer an environment of understanding if you haven't done the hard work of cultivating it within yourself first.
Ultimately, love is a calm flow between two living consciousnesses. It is absolutely not a cage of possession or control. We really have to stop trying to mold our partners into our own image or expecting them to communicate exactly the same way we do. True connection means accepting their entire existence, including all those shifting emotions and unspoken energies, and allowing the relationship to actually breathe, without that constant nagging urge to control it.
So let me leave you with this final, genuinely powerful question to ponder. Are you trying to control your partner through logic and behavior, or are you brave enough to look within and find your own stillness? Because according to our source material, the real key to a lasting, deeply understood connection isn't outward control at all. It's inward courage. There's so much more depth to this philosophy in the original text, and I highly recommend exploring it further to see what else you might uncover about your own inner stillness. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.